Hi students, in this video I'll be going through the 2023 O-Level Mathematics Paper 1 question 2. Alright, so let's read the question. So this question states that sine x degrees is equals to 0.9301. Find two possible values of x in the range of x greater or equals 0, less than or equals to 180. Right, so for this question, we need to apply the concept of the relationship between the sine of an acute angle and its supplementary obtuse angle. Right, so over here I've drawn out a table. So let's explore for x, for the values of 30, 45, and 60. Okay, what's the relationship between sine x degrees and sine 180 minus x degrees? Okay, so if x is 30, then over here we'll be calculating the value of sine 30 degrees. Okay, so if you do the calculation in your calculator, you will get half, right, or 0.5. Okay, so for the next column, okay, if x is 30, right, then 180 minus 30 will be sine 150. Right, so if you were to try to calculate sine 150 in your calculator, you should arrive at the value of 0.5 as well. Okay, so you can see that sine 30 and sine 150 have the same values. All right. Okay, so let's move on to another one to check. Okay, so if x is now 45, then over here we'll be calculating sine 45 degrees. Okay, so if you key in sine 45 into your calculator, okay, you will get 0.707. Okay, so over here you will now be calculating sine 180 minus 45. So 180 minus 45 will be 135, right? 135 degrees. So if you were to calculate sine 135 degrees, you should be able to obtain the same answer of 0.707. Right, so this shows that sine 45 and sine 135 degrees have the same value, all right? Okay, let's move on to now 60 degrees. So if you were to calculate sine 60 degrees, okay, so let's see sine 60, okay, you will get 0.866, right? Right, so if x is 60, then 180 minus 60 will be sine 120. So if you were to key in sine 120 in your calculator, you realize that you also get 0.866. Right, so what can we conclude from this is that sine x degrees will always be equals to sine 180 minus x degrees, okay, when x is an acute angle. Right, so now basically for this question, we are going to apply this concept. Right, so they told us that sine x degrees is equals to 0.9301, right? But we have just learned that sine x degrees is equals to sine 180 minus x degrees. Okay, so let's state this concept. Let's try to present our working in full. So let's say, so we'll say since sine x degrees is equals to sine 180 minus x degrees, then now we can come up with two equations, okay? So one equation would be the original equation, sine x degrees equals to 0.9301, or now we can come up with a second equation, right? Because since sine x is equals to sine 180 minus x, so we can then write this also, right? So since sine x degrees is equal to sine 180 minus x degrees, the question told us, gives us that sine degree is 0.9301, right? But it's perfectly fine to now write sine 180 minus x degrees equals to 0.9301. So basically here now you're going to solve two equations, right? 1 and 2, and that's why you arrive at two answers, all right? So if you were to press your calculator, so to calculate x degrees, we will need to do sine inverse, right? Okay, so this will give us a 68.5 degrees. So 68.5 will be one of the answer, right? So 68.5 is one of the answer. Okay, over here, if you were to do sine inverse, okay, with your calculator, since you are sine inversing the same number 0.9301, you should get the same answer, right? So now 180 minus x degrees is also 68.5 degrees. Okay, so all we need to do is do some simple manipulation. We should be able to calculate x. Okay, so if you do so, you will realize the x degrees will be 180 degrees minus 68.5 degrees. So that will give 111.5 degrees, right? Right, so this is how you work out the question like this. But the key thing, the essential thing that you need to remember for this question, okay, or questions of this nature is that sine x degrees, okay, will be equals to sine 180 minus x degrees. Okay, so this is the relationship between the sine of an acute angle and its supplementary obtuse angle. Right, let's look at part B of the question. Okay, so in part B, they ask us to convert 1.36 radians into degrees. Okay, for conversion between radians and degrees, there's actually only one thing you need to remember. Okay, you just need to remember that pi radians are, okay, pi radians is equals to 180 degrees. Okay, so if you are measuring angle in terms of radians, pi radians is the equivalent to 180 degrees if you are measuring in degrees. Okay, once you remember this, you can work out anything. Right, so the main idea behind this, I want to calculate 1.36 radians, right? Let's find out 1 radian is how many degrees first, right? And from there, all we need to do is times 1.36 and we'll get our answer. So in math, whatever you do on the left side, you just do the same thing on the right side and you are fine. So to get to 1 radian, okay, from pi radians, I will just divide by pi. Okay, so I'll just divide this by pi, right? So 1 radian will then be 180 degrees divided by pi. Alright, then to get to 1.36 radians, okay, from here, I will then times 1.36, right? So from here, okay, so whatever you do on the left side, you do the same thing on the right side and you are fine. Okay, so we will just get 180 over pi times 1.36. Okay, and that will give us the answer of 77.9 degrees. Right, so all you need to do is remember this essential thing, okay? To convert between radians and degrees, pi radians is equals to 180 degrees. Okay, then from there on, all you need to do is just do some proportion and you should be able to get the answer already. Okay, so the answer for this part B will be 77.9 degrees. Okay, so this to 1 decimal place. Right?